Thank you, sir.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर, बहुत बहुत आभार आप सभी का। पुनः आपका स्वागत है हमारी मंजिल नहीं, पायदान 1018 पर। We would like to welcome you all on behalf of Independent Research Society's AYUSH Samriddhi International Webinar Series, the fastest and longest webinar series of the world. 1018 webinars in 3.2 years only, 3 years and 2 months. So this is not possible without your guidance, blessings and contributions. Dr. Sakat Kumar Basu is our pillar of AYUSH Samriddhi, supporting like anything from last 3 years. So I am really grateful to him for his joining and introducing Dr. Suparna Sanyal Mukherjee ji. Welcome both of you. Today is National Farmers Day. I don't know on which day, you will guide me. So now I have observed 3 or 4 National and International Farmers Day, but 12 October is also National Farmers Day. So we are celebrating this National Farmers Day with the cultivation of medicinal plants, farming techniques, because this is related to the farmers. So we are conducting webinar on farming techniques or some tips, not techniques, then tips, definitely. So thank you very much, Agnihotri sir.
Really, with all modesty, we are in position to say that we have reached 1018 today. Out of 3 years and 2 months, we have to maintain our modesty because we are nothing without your cooperation. This is what we got, and ultimately, after having such type of long association with all you learned persons of India and out of India, I felt really indebted to see that it can happen if uncontrolled, unbounded cooperation is with us from every nook and corner. This is what it leads us to humbleness. Otherwise, academy is one thing which is always there. Cooperation, time sacrifice, availability, everything, and also depending upon the technical concept, which is always helped us to reach to this extent. Of course, he told 1018 पायदान नीचे पड़ा रहता है जीने पे या गेट के बाहर, मंजिल बहुत ऊंचाई पे होती है. That's why we are little bit scared not to say मंजिल. We could reach only on पायदान. तो हमारे पायदान तक पहुंच गए हैं. मंजिल पता ही नहीं कहाँ है, कौन से नंबर पर रुकेगी. आपका कॉपरेशन भी अनंत है और हमारी मंजिल भी अनंत दूरी पर स्थित है. बहुत अच्छा लगा आज के इस एड्रेस को बिफोर वेबिनार, क्योंकि ऐसे ही तो बीज होता है जो नीचे रूट जाती हैं पृथ्वी के नीचे और शूट से बनता है पौधा, फिर वो बनियन ट्री बन जाता है. वही चीज है पायदान से लेके और फलों तक, फल से फिर बीज, वो एक सर्कल चल रहा है, प्रकृति की देन है. ऐसे ही कभी कोरोना कोविड हुआ और हम लोग यहाँ पहुंच गए. सुख दुख बराबर सबने देखा और उसका आपका साथ रहा. आज हम उन्हीं मेडिसिनल प्लांट्स की चर्चा करेंगे जिन्होंने हमें कोरोना से भी बचाया, जो हमें स्वास्थ्य देते हैं. व्याधिग्रस्त होने पर जिनके एक्सट्रैक्ट जो समूल नष्ट हो जाते हैं, हमको स्वास्थ्य दे जाते हैं. हमारे उन पौधों के सैक्रिफाइस को भी हम भूल नहीं सकते. हम अपने क्रॉप को, अपने सीरियल्स को, अपने अन्न को भी नहीं भूल सकते, जो बढ़ते हैं, पैदा होते हैं, बीज बनते हैं और हमारे खाद्यान्न बनते हैं और महा औषधि जैसा कि आहार या भोजन अन्न कहा गया है, उस स्वरूप को भी स्थापित करते हैं. ये कुछ शब्द है हमारे भावनात्मक. आज की इस प्रेजेंटेशन के जुड़ने वाले हमारे अतिथियों के लिए हम जानते हैं शौकत साहब जब आ जाएं तो शब्दाभाव भले ही हो जाए, भावाभाव नहीं होता. तो उनके भाव के साथ जब वो आते हैं तो निश्चित रूप से हृदय की भावांजलि होती है. शब्द बहुत आ रहे हैं आप लोगों के हालात को देखते हुए. ओवर टू पवन शर्मा जी, आज के कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए. नमस्कार.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Really grateful to you. You have also blessed us like anything. Thank you. So now I would like to request Dr. Sakat Vasu to invite Dr. Suparna Sanyal Mukherjee with her great introduction. Dr. Sakat
Thank you.
Vasu.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Thank you, Dr. Agnihotri ji. It has always been a pleasure to associate with you. And medicinal plants is very close to my heart, is because I extensively work on it. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Suparna Sandal Mukherjee, who is Associate Professor of Department of Education, Sikkim Skill University. She's a leading anthropologist from West Bengal and Eastern India, and has worked extensively on medicinal plants and their association with the tribal communities. Today, she is going to highlight about the various farming techniques and methods predominantly used by the tribal communities and how sustainable it is. And once she is done, then I will talk about the modern agricultural practice and the farming technology that is associated with, and the challenges, of course, in the commercial production of medicinal plants. So mine will be more on the modern advanced agriculture, and Dr. Suparna Sandal Mukherjee is going to talk about the traditional cultivation and practices, mostly how it is very sustainable and how it is done by tribals and villagers around various parts of our country. So with this word, it is my pleasure to invite Dr. Suparna Sandal Mukherjee to deliver her erudite lecture for our platform. Thank you and welcome, Dr. Mukherjee.
Welcome, and thanks for both of you.
Namaste.
Namaste,
First, hope you all are fine. I convey my best regards and gratitude to all of you. This is the platform which I have represented my, research work and research capabilities previously, and various times in my sustaining research career. Today, the World Farmers' Day, on this auspicious occasion, I would like to introduce that tribal medicines, the medicinal plants and tribal people in connection with farming. Medicinal plants play an important role in human life to combat the diseases since time immemorial. Plants provide us food, shelter, clothes, and other necessities which is needed for our day-to-day life. The amenities for comfortable and safe living. Herbal drugs are very important, comfortably safer than the other drugs. So the people, since time immemorial, they are depending upon the herbal drugs, and they know how to use these herbs and their uses, their compatibility, their existence, and their potentiality in every aspect. The tribes are very keen to know all those things. These herbal drugs are very important, very prestigious, and very economically sustainable in the parts of the tribal life. In India, the sacred and Vedas dating back between 3500 BC to 800 BC give many references of medicinal plants. The study of ethnobotany showed that the plant used by the tribal people, the aboriginals, for their different purposes. Ethnobotanically is the interrelationship between the primitive tribe, the primitive men and women with the botanical value, then the medicinal value of the plants. They are very sustainable with this particular aspects. A good number of plant species are being used by the tribal and rural people for the treatment of diarrhea, dysentery, then ulcer, then the severe fever, etc., etc. WHO in 1985 recommended the search for botanical use of medicinal plants, especially for the treatment of diabetes mellitus, has been introduced. More than 1,200 species were introduced for the recovery of the diabetes mellitus. And in developing countries, derive a major part of their sustenance needs and income from collected medicinal plants and their products. The present study was emphasized on the Arabari forest range of Medinipur Forest Division of Medinipur district, West Bengal. The production of an inventory of the tribal plants used by the tribal and rural people of Arabari forest range and Arabari villages, the surrounding villages, for treating psoriatic skin cancer, then ulcer, then gastrointestinal diseases, then diabetes mellitus, then diarrhea, then dysentery, etc. It has been emphasized that and look after in this an ethnobotanical survey in different remote areas of the Arabari range and Arabari forest division. Data was based on personal contact and interviews of the villagers, especially the women, those who are in between the age group of 40 to 50. With local traditional healers, they are known as the traditional healers too, and villagers of different localities to study the for this present study. Basically, data was collected. The 50 women, out of which 40 were tribal and 10 were caste peasants. This tribal woman, this 40 tribal women were the, from the Mahali tribal group. They used to go to the forest, and this forest were very keen to us. They were very keen to us. The degree of dependence on the forest was very high. In case of the other traditional people, like this caste peasants, they are not so keen to the forest. They used to go to the forest, but they have no idea regarding the herbs, the medicinal plants. But they have learned from the tribal people, and the tribal people, they are indigenous. They have learned from their family members. So in that way, the 17 species they used to collect every time and in a month, and they are getting remunerated from the forest office and forest division. Those medicinal plants they used to collect and they used to dump it in the Aravalli range office. The Aravalli range have a different farm house, and they bring it in the farmhouse. And at the same time, it is restoring in the farmhouse, and those farmhouses are cultivating those medicinal plants in their farmhouse. So the effectivity of the collection of the medicinal plants of through these tribal women especially, so they are regenerating the herbs. And those herbs are very important, very have the medicinal aspects and medicinal importance for the society at large. And those tribals women, those who are collecting the medicines, the herbals, so they are generating women empowerment and women economic sustainability through this collection of the tribal medicines. Out of 70 species, the important species are, and the parts of the medicines are parts of the plants has been used for the medicines, like neem, the leaves, vindi, the seed, the Australian fever tree, the dried fruits, then the tulsi leaves, satavari, tuberous roots, then lahuna, then both oil, then the brahmi, then whole plant, daria, then the leaves, then amla, only fruits. Like this way, the 17 species they used to collect regularly and in the Arabari forest range. Not necessarily the 17 species and regularly, might be the 3 from the one day, then 4 from the another day. So in this way, within a month, they collect 17 species, of which they are getting remuneration. So if they collect 100 species or 100 seeds or 1,000 leaves, then out of 1,000 leaves, they used to get the 25 rupees, or out of 10 seeds, they are getting 100 rupees. So these are the remuneration they used to get it. But if we calculate it in the per month, their earning is standing 2,500 to 3,000 rupees. So in this way, they can maintain their socio-economic status and their family feeding. Most of the cases, the treatment of the gastrointestinal disorder, like the into the condition caused by eating indigestible food, like the excessive or irregular foods, then the imbalanced and spicy diet, adulteration in food, and the contamination of drinking water, resulting in the symptoms of like abdominal pain. At the same time, the acidity, constipation, diarrhea, indigestion, fluctuations, then diarrhea, dysentery, colic, and colitic also happened in this case of indigestible disorder. And gastrointestinal disorder is also related to the several types of, food habit. So those tribals, those who are living in the deep inside the forest, they have nothing. They don't know what is the main thing they have to get it, but they know their intention and their traditional way of being. They can collect and they know the medicinal herbs by the sensation, by the smelling, of the that particular herb, and they know the uses also. That's why they call the medicine omen. The one thing in the tribal community is very important, that there was no doctors, there is no allopathic treatment, there is no homeopathic treatment, there's no other alternative diseases, only the herbal, only the Ayush is there. So in that case, they are collecting, when they are collecting the medicinal herbs, they know the uses of that. So in that case, they are collecting the people. The people are collecting the medicinal man or the medicinal woman. So they are recovering the diseases. They know which seed is important for the high fever, and which seed is important for the dysentery, and which leaves are important for the cough and cold. So this way they know the uses of this particular medicinal plants. Of course, it is an indigenous technology, no in modern technology. But farming is a modern technology where we can regenerate those medicinal plants, and at the same time we can learn those people, the tribal women, traditional doctor, then medicine man and medicine woman in the modern. If we can taught them in the modern way in the farmhouse, and if there is a awareness generating program, then these people will be the more effective, and they can produce their effectivity, they can produce their expertise in the society at large. So we can generate the more medicinal plants, we can generate the more activities from the tribal women. I know in my field work, I have visited in the one place, and the tribal place, which is known at MP, Madhya Pradesh. So there was a tribal village, and the name of the tribe used to call the Gond Maria. This Gond Maria tribal people are living 1,000 feet below of the plain surface. And those attain the death rituals. They are very keen to attend the death ritual instead of birth rituals, because when our team went over there with the medicinal box, one person was suffering from a high fever. So when we are giving him the medicines, they were just coming to beat us, because they said that they believe that if they will die soon, so they will be their perishable life will be the stop, and they can get the better life. And 1,000 feet below the plain surface, and they used to come up and down every day for a bucket of water, because there is nothing, only one fountain from where everyone is getting their water. Like the elephant is there, then the wild bison is there. So the wild animals are there, and human beings are also there. So in this situation, we are reached at the Amrit Mahotsav, Azadi ki Amrit Mahotsav. So, but we haven't looked into this matter. Those are people, those are indigenous. But in that area, there was a medicine doctor. But literacy, they don't read, they don't write, they don't know anything of the modern world. But they know how to use the medicinal plants. They know the uses of the medicinal plants in the different aspects. because it is only the recovery from the dreaded disease over there, because no one is there. Only when we visited over there, so only 23 households were sustaining over there, of which population is 512. But they are stopping the regeneration, reproduce. The little boy and girl, they are sustaining. They are telling that if they born, so the people will suffering their perishable life. Because it's very surprising that the medicine doctor was present over there. But this medicine doctor doesn't know how to build up the agriculture. If we can produce some rice over there, they can get the everyday food. But those medicine doctor know the uses of this herbs, plants and herbs, because plenty of medicinal plants over there. Plenty of medicinal plants that we can just imagine how many plants are there. We don't know that there are several types of species which are the importance in the medicinal world. So if we can escalate, if we can generate farmhouse in every part of the states and every districts and every nook and corner, then we can develop the medicinal plants. We can regenerate the medicinal plants, and then we can utilize those tribal traditional well-being. We can utilize the tribal people, especially the women who are very keen to the forest, and who, they know that every nook and corners of the forest and where, in which part of the forest this type of medicinal plants is to be produced. So they can utilize it, they can brought it in the farmhouse, and then they can be better remunerated, and they can sustain their land status in the education. They can get the proper medicine, they can get the proper look, they can get the proper care. So our responsibility in this today, this 12th October, the World Farming Day. So we should produce and we should restore our medicinal plants in the farmhouse, and we can get we can regenerate and we can develop our sustainability in the formation of the better society, good society, and we can personalize ourselves as a good human being in this sustainable world, where we can develop our we can build our good nation. We can build our women. We can build our men. Those medicine doctors are very important and very important expertise in the sustainable world in the farmhouse. At the same time, those medicine doctors have the power to healing process, touch and healing process, which is very, very, primitive technology, but which have the importance to cure the persons. We know that our religious gurus, those who use the heal and touching person, but there is a tribe, Orao. This Orao traditional well-being is the heal and touching process, and they know which part of the body they can touch and they can heal it. If there is any kind of diseases, they can cure it through heal and touching process. So medicinal plants, heal and touching process, the medicinal doctor, the medicinal woman doctor, those all are related with they have the symbiotic relationship with us, because we the people, we have come from the evolution. Those evolutions taught us the various types of technologies, because we are the inventor of the technologies. We human beings are the inventor, and nowadays we are also inventing the technologies in modern ways. But we cannot dissuade those primitive tribes, because they have the technology. This is the technology. Those indigenous technology are same scientific as we are using the scientific, living in the scientific world. Because scientific world, that doesn't mean that we are living in the 8-story building or all facilities were there, but in the nature, through use the nature in a scientific manner, it is also the scientific endeavor. Those people are also practicing from time immemorial. So we have the right to protect them. We have the responsibility to look after their traditional well-being. We have to look after their traditional methods, which they are inculcated from generation to generation wise, because that is the invention first. For those who have done invention first, so they should have the look after by the modern people. So modernity is nothing but the rear up all the people in the modern technology, but at the same time, the tribal people, the traditional well-being should be looked after in the modern way, in the modern technology. Then we can say that we are enjoying the Azadi Ki Amrit Mahotsav. Not necessarily that we are dislook at the dissuade those people, those who have the expertise. We also respect their expertise and utilize their expertise in the modern way, so that they can also sustain, they can also get the pleasure to know their expertise and to utilize their expertise. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much. Very nicely explained the situation of our existing and unseen culture. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I would like to request Dr. Sakat Kumar Basu. Welcome, Dr. Sakat.
Thank you,
madam,
Dr.
please do
Sharma.
join every day.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Once again, it's my pleasure to be on the platform, and I'm going to talk about predominantly on the cultivation of medicinal plants around the world and the challenges and opportunity it provides in very simple, non-technical terms so that we can all understand. But there are a few myth busters that we need to identify at the beginning. There is a common belief in that medicinal plants are being used only for traditional medicine, which is true. It is extensively used in traditional medicine, not only in India, but across the tropical, subtropical areas of Asia, Africa, and Latin America, because these are the areas which are either tropical or subtropical or neotropical, and this environment has a wide variety of ecosystems, and these produce a wide diversity of plants, many of which, or a vast majority of which, has some medicinal properties or others. It is not just that in India we use traditional medicine such as Ayurveda. There is Chinese traditional medicine, there is Tibetan traditional medicine, there is Latin American medicine, there is African traditional medicine, or even traditional medicine applied in various parts of Eastern Europe, which are plant-based, which are, some of them are animal-based. So it's wrong to think that only in case of Ayurveda we used medicinal plants. Medicinal plants are also used in the preparation of synthetic drugs, such as the allopathic medication too. And at this present moment of time, there are three major global industries that are extensively dependent on medicinal plant supply for various parts of manufacturing of drugs as well as others, which is, one is pharmaceutical industry, other is the nutraceutical industry, and the third one is functional food industry. All these industries which has grown up and particularly come up in Western countries needs medicinal plants in various processing, not only for the preparation of drugs from the chemicals of the plants, which we call phytochemicals, but also these are used as food suppressors. For example, a bread is sold in North America, which is enriched with the seeds of various cereals and other medicinal plants. So once we are consuming the bread, you are also consuming the fibers as well as the seed materials from various medicinal plants. So by this, they increase the quality and the nutritional value of bread, and this part constitutes a big part of your functional food industry. Similarly, nutraceutical industries that have come up that also uses various parts of different medicinal plants in as food supplements, as capsules, as medication, which we do not need for through prescription drugs, either traditional or non-traditional, but can be used as food supplements and are becoming increasingly popular in Western countries and are sold at very high price. Now, unfortunately, the story lies here is only a very few of the medicinal plants around the world, and that does not include India, but plants that are produced naturally in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, only a handful of them has been successfully commercially cultivated till date. Only a few hundred species. A vast majority of them are harvested from the forest. And another important thing that I would like to highlight is India is the land of spices. India, including Indonesia, Malaysia, and few African countries, but predominantly India and Indonesia, Malaysia are the spice island or the spice hotspots of the world, including China. And all spice plants are technically considered as medicinal plants. So there are 43 species of recognized spices that are produced in Indian subcontinent, particularly in the Indian Republic, recognized by the Indian Spice Board. All 43 of these species, whether it is hing, whether it is your long, whether it is your turmeric, all of these are medicinal plants in some form or other. If you just ever had a chance of looking into in the composition of any cough syrup or expectorant that you regularly use, whether it's for pediatric use or for adult use, you will see that they have a mixture of all kinds of plant oils, essential oils, other components of the plants that are being used as a part of the medicine, or is a mixture of various oils, essential oils. So spice plants are extensively used as medicinal plants around the world in various formulations, not only in Ayurveda, but also in semi-Ayurvedic medications and also in synthetic medication under allopathic mode of treatment. Various sources are used from plant material. So among the vast majority of medicinal plants that are successfully grown, these are the 43 or 50 species of spices along the world. Why these species have been cultivated? Because they are being cultivated from a long time during our colonial period, when there was a high demand for spices for selling in the European market. These people pushed the native producers, particularly in our countries, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, they were pushed to produce medicinal the spices for boosting the spice trades. And this is how we have learned through, say, 50, 60, or 100, 200 years of cultivation of these plants. We have designed the techniques, the cultivation methods, process of these plants. There are some medicinal plants, for the example of aloe vera, that need very little care, that can grow in any kind of soil, and they're very easy to generate. But there are also plants like starting from Vasak to Kalmeg, that are very, very difficult to, particularly Kalmeg is very, very difficult to grow commercially. Why these medicinal plants are very difficult and challenging to grow commercially? Say, compared to rice, wheat, maize, all other food crops or industrial crops such as jute, cotton, we have been exploiting these plant resources for a long time. So we have undergone extensive research across the continents for, say, 100, 150, 200, 300 years of extensive research in producing high quality genomes, in producing extensive good cultivars that are suitable for various countries. And we see the high production around the world. But for medicinal plants, a vast majority of them are grown in the forest. We know the name, we know the medicinal uses of the plant. We are slowly getting to understand the chemicals present in them because of the extensive development in chemistry, particularly in case of various methods of HPLC, gas spectrography, gas spectrometry, and other mass spectrometry. HPLC methods, we are getting to understand and identify the compounds, medicinal important enriched compounds in the medicinal plants, but we have very little knowledge about their agrological parameters. By agrological parameters, as an agronomist, I'm suggesting we really do not know what kind of soil they will grow the best. Each distinct species of medicinal plants prefer a particular environment. We do not know what kind of actual temperature ranges they prefer, what kind of irrigation or rainfall they appreciate, what kind of precipitation, what kind of fertilizer combinations. Even more than, we are not even exposed to what kind of diseases they're exposed, whether these are fungal diseases, bacterial or viral diseases, how to control these diseases. Because when you grow small amount of plants as medicinal herbs in your kitchen garden, you won't be able to see disease production. But when you are growing them commercially on a very large scale, it attracts a vast number of insects, pests, or fungi, and there it is chance to see how they are interacting in their natural environment and how they are being exposed to various biological and abiological stresses. And under these premier agricultural condition only, these plants start producing various aspects of diseases. And those diseases we need to understand. We need to understand how to control those diseases and to maintain the agricultural production of the medicinal plants. We have almost little to nothing knowledge of the commercial production of medicinal plants around the world. It is only very recently medicinal plants that are comparatively easy to grow, particularly those which are of succulent nature or those which are of simple herbaceous nature, which could be grown in the greenhouses, which can be easily grown in your backyard kitchen gardens or in the lawns or in the city parks and gardens, that are slowly becoming popular. But a vast majority of weeds, which we call botanically as weeds, but they are also medicinal plants, we have no idea how can we grow them extensively under commercial production, because we have no idea about the soil conditions, irrigation conditions, parameters of their diseases, pH of the soil, kind of soil bacteria interactions they undergo, nothing. It is a new field that has emerged, and it is slowly gaining popularity among agronomists, because many of the granting agencies around the world do not spend too much money as a granting allocation for commercial cultivation of medicinal plants. There is really not much interest among agronomists or agriculturists to really grow for various kinds of agricultural plant production. So what happens is, under these circumstances, is this, that only a few medical companies, pharmaceutical companies, maybe Ayurvedic companies, or personal research groups that are working around the world on commercial production of medicinal plants. Few of the challenges that I have seen with my experience of medicinal plants is also the fluctuation in the yield with respect to environment and the common growth factor. To simply explain this, we call it in terms of genetics as a genotype environment interaction. So what it is, say for example, you have methi seeds, like the same methi or fenugreek that we are so commonly known to use as for diabetics and stuff. So the same plant from India, we got the seeds from the same plant, and it was simultaneously grown in United States, Australia, Canada, China, India, and few other countries. Same plant. The seed from the same plant was grown in various different countries. And when the chemical composition of the seeds that were produced from those same plant, coming from the same seed stock, was measured, we found that there is a heaven and hell differences. Heaven and hell differences is the same plant that produces high quality of diosgenin in India does not produce similar quantity of diosgenin in China. The production went down even low. Their chemical contents were even low in North American condition, a little bit better maybe in some of the neotropical countries, which gives us an interpretation that not only do we need to do extensive research on medicinal plants, but we also have to work extensively in producing what we call in agricultural term as locally adapted cultivars. So sometimes you will find that, say, for example, you are in a part of West Bengal. So a crop or a particular species of a crop that is so good and well grown in southern Bengal does not do good in adjoining states of Orissa, Jharkhand, Bihar, or in other parts, or even in northern part of the Bengal. So which means that this particular cultivar, which is the same species but a different variety, has adapted to this particular environment of southern Bengal, in which it gets all the natural optimal condition as a growth parameters for it to produce profuse seeds and flower and its essential chemicals that is necessary for pharmaceutical industries, nutraceutical industries, or the Ayurveda industries for procuring this particular chemical. So what we need to do is not only you have to grow a plant, we have to bring most medicinal plants grow in tropical, subtropical countries, mostly in drier areas where we usually think that there will not be much plant diversity. You will find medicinal plants growing on those particular areas. So these medicinal plants that are collected, needs to be agroclimatically adjusted to a particular new environment. Then you have to grow them for several generations to see if they're producing the same quality of chemicals or if the same quantity of chemicals. And you have to send them for trials, which we call in technical terms multi-locational trials, so that they are grown in various altitudes, various latitudes, and their climatic fluctuation with their yield is compared. And then the best performing lines are selected, and then they're carried forward. It's for each species of plant. This is a project for 10 to 15 years to come up with one good cultivar that would be good for a particular region. It's a tedious process, commercial cultivation. So this is one of the traditional form of agriculture through quantitative genetics and plant breeding that medicinal plants are produced. The other way of producing medicinal plants that has become quite popular in Western countries is through hydroponics. You know, it is very easy to grow many of the herbaceous medicinal plants, usually easily grow on your backyard kitchen in a small incorporated part if you have shade. Many of these herbaceous plants are either semi-shade plant or they are extremely straight living plants. So if they are grown under open field, they usually do not produce very high quality. So for example, mentha and related species of various lavenders and others, which has gone cultivation for many years and new varieties have been developed, they actually grow good in open commercial cultivation. But there are various other species of mentha that do not withstand the very good hot sun conditions that we have here, and then they're grown in the greenhouse condition where there is a shaded condition where they get humidity at under controlled conditions, their temperature can be controlled. And the third method other than greenhouse that is becoming very popular in particularly in producing medicinal plants, it's a technique called hydroponics. Hydroponics means a water-based agricultural system where no soil is used. Now, how this is being done, it is integrated with fish production. So there are large tanks of fish in which commercial fishes are produced. And as you know, the fish will grow in the water, so they have to be provided with food, vitamins, and all other minerals that goes into the water, that goes into the fish, take those food, and then they poop. They pass their fecal matters into the water. This water is recycled. Previously, this water used to be thrown away. Now this water is recycled, particularly for hydroponics, where this water is changed with fresh water for the fish, and the contaminated wastewater, which contains a lot of nitrate rich from the fish, is transferred into the greenhouses, and plants are directly grown in small holes on those wastewater plants. What we have found is those fish wastewater has been extensively rich in nitrates, and that promotes the growth of various medicinal plants, particularly for those where you are looking for the leaves as medicinal sources. So many of these herbaceous plants which are very good in producing leaves, and usually under these greenhouse conditions, the green turns very, very deep green, which also indicates that they are not only producing very high quality of the plant chemicals or the phytochemicals that is need for medicine production, but these plants are also generating a high quality protein. So plants are very healthy, they do not need any additional care, and in big greenhouses they are grown in hundreds and thousands of million tons in the Western countries, particularly for leafy medicinal plants. These are herbaceous plants. This has become a very, very good farming technique. It's cheaper, particularly in Western countries, and it is even cheaper to practice this method in India, where you do not need very controlled greenhouses. If we just have polyester sheets that can be stretched along wooden construction, and you can grow them by controlling this sunlight, because there are various grades of plastics that can reduce the intensity of sunlight these days, and you can use them for the growth of this plant by using wastewater. They can also be grown as seedlings. Like if you go into any of the forest seedlings stations that are operating in various corners of India, where they usually, excuse me, where they usually grow forest plant seedlings, they are also growing a wide variety of medicinal plants. And these are coming from the seedlings. It could be from the seeds, it could be from the grafting from the stem, it could be parts of the leaf that is for some plants that are being used. So our nurseries are getting very well trained in generating a lot of medicinal plants and their cultivation techniques, but they have never been done other than the small areas of the greenhouses or nurseries or forestry nurseries where the government grows, that it is being grown commercially on the field. The commercial production, when it comes, since it encompasses a larger area, those trials are not happening in India and other parts of the countries, is because there is not so much funding for production of medicinal plants as of yet. So this is where medicinal plant production is limited right now. We are looking for developing new techniques and technologies. But the question to ask is then, how are we getting so much medicinal plants? How are these industries running? The sad part of the story is that these huge amount of medicinal plants are harvested directly from the forest. And as Madam indicated, many of these are harvested by marginal communities, tribal communities that are very closely associated with forest, or those who live in close association with the forest, either are forest resident, remote villagers, marginal farmers, or farmers who have no land, or tribal communities, or fringe dwellers who are people who are living at the edge of the forest. These are the people who are exploited by the middlemen to go into the forest and collect these medicinal plants in huge numbers. As the madam has indicated, that the tribal people have outstanding knowledge of medicinal plants, where they grow, which part of the forest to collect them from. But the pressure of collection on them is so much that they are frequently harvesting these plants from the forest. So what's happening is these plants are not getting a chance of regeneration. Young seedlings, young saplings are all taken away from the forest. So the plant never gets the chance to reach maturity to produce fruit, seeds, flower, so that the next generation of medicinal plants is generated. If you look into the itinerary of the government of India, the medicinal plants, particularly in the environment ministry, you will see that there are blockage on the name of various medicinal plants of Indian origin that you cannot cultivate from the forest anymore, because they are either become endangered or critically endangered. And if they are continued harvest without understanding their life cycle, then we are going to deplete them and they will be totally extinct. Even if you talk to our veggies and Ayurveda practitioners in and around our rural areas, those who used to go into the forest and adjoining places to find plants, they will all complain to you now that they do not get a large number of medicinal plants that are prescribed in our Ayurveda, because they are being harvested at an accelerated rate and pace, being provided money through the middleman by various big pharmaceutical Ayurveda companies for harvesting them from the forest. Now, these poor people suffering from abject poverty, we pinpoint our fingers towards these poor, helpless people, but they are like, the tip of the iceberg. The huge money that comes from the medicinal plant industry usually goes to the big businessmen and the other middlemen, and along the long chain to the industrialists, as also to the factories people are producing, where they're producing also, various village communities, or when they are stealing the plants from the forest to the forest guards, or for senior forest authorities and stuff. These people who are actually harvesting get a very meager minimal amount. So they are so starved, they are suffering from so much abject poverty, that they will repeatedly go back to the forest. My sad incident of doing research with this, that I have found in remote rural West Bengal and Orissa, I have found tribal communities collecting termites as source of protein in this new age. Can you believe? While we are talking of Chandrayana sending Bhaskara and India's G20 presidency has placed India on a global stage, there are people in our countries who are feeding on termites for their protein sources, because they cannot afford any other food. This is seen by my own eyes, and I cried, because this is an empathy, or this is something that happening to our country. Our natural resources are getting plundered. We are blaming the poorest of the poor, but we are not doing anything to take care of their abject poverty. This is how our medicinal plants are vanishing very rapidly, and unless sustainable cultivation of the medicinal plants is generated, or these people are involved in social forestry scheme where huge amount of medicinal plants are grown, and these people are given a share of the medicinal plant sale for developing their communities, for their economy and other parts. Unless we provide them with those facilities, these people are so much dependent on the forest, the medicinal plants will deplete. And the technological development of the medicinal plants is so slow, and it is so rigorous, and it takes such a long years to commercially make one medicinal plant successfully commercially grown, that unless we have our good forest resources to provide to all the industries that need medicinal plant, it is a challenging factor. Right now, China is the largest medicinal plant producer for the entire world. But due to complexity of geopolitical relations with China, several Western countries which has big industries are looking towards India for becoming the next large producer of medicinal plant. But India cannot just survive by plundering these medicinal plants from our natural ecosystem and forest. We need to generate ideas and grow them commercially. And for that, the government needs to come up with funding for the people who are working towards cultivation and conservation of medicinal plants. It's still a very small area. it's still a very small area in the sense that there is not enough opportunities and funding available for cultivation of medicinal plants. They are only done at the seedling forest stage or as parts of the forest plant. This needs to be a separate discipline in agriculture. There needs to be a separate department of medicinal plant regeneration and conservation under the Ministry of Agriculture of the Government of India to see the sustainable production of medicinal plant. It is a big dollar earning industry for India. It will generate employment. It will bring in foreign exchange. It will also help building the rural communities, because if we could involve them, as Madam has suggested, that if we could integrate their traditional knowledge of production of medicinal plants and conservation of medicinal plants, it could be a big boost for India in providing medicinal plant as a sustainable form to the entire world. Thank you very much. It has been again a pleasure to be a part of your program. Thank you, Sharma ji. Thank you, Agnihotri ji.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your vast knowledge and covering all the possible subject areas. Especially you covered whole of the India along with most of the countries of world regarding this issue, that how these things can be means planted and be harvested in the greater interest of the herbal medicine survival. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
So,
please call me in the end.
Okay, sir. So our guest speaker's presentation is now over, and I request our dignitaries, those who are present on our this platform, of course, so late by 11 p.m. I would like to have some comments from the respected dignitaries. May start from Dr. Ramesh V. Parmar, sir. He may add something on this very important issue, well as good coverage has been put with our madam and of course Dr. Mr. Saikat Kumar Vasuji. May I have some words from Sutapa Vardhan, ma'am? हमारा प्रेजेंटेशन के आज के अतिथियों का कार्य पूरा हुआ, तो हम अब फ्री सेशन के लिए आप लोगों के विचार आमंत्रित करते हैं। अभी इसमें कुछ विचार आप लोगों की तरफ से और जुड़ जाए तो और एक सक्रियता और संपूर्णता बनेगी। प्लेटफॉर्म से जुड़े हुए लोगों में हमारे साथ में हम परमार साहब को देख पा रहे हैं। परमार साहब, यदि आप अपनी कुछ इस विषय पर अपने विचार एड ऑन करना चाहेंगे तो आपका स्वागत है। डॉक्टर रमेश परमार सर।
नमस्ते सर।
नमस्कार जी, नमस्कार।
हाँ सर, सुन रहा हूँ, अभी तो
सुन रहे हैं।
हाँ सर।
ना टॉपिक वाइज ऐसे ही था इंटरेस्ट का, लेकिन वर्ल्ड लेवल पे जैसे उन्होंने बताया कि
बढ़िया, एकदम बढ़िया टॉपिक है। चांस मैं भी दूंगा अगली बार, अगला कल परसों की जो होगी उसमें मैं चांस लूंगा। मतलब
नहीं, हमारे भारत के लिए तो बड़ी खुशी की बात है कि हम लोग किसी और पैथी के आने से पहले से आयुर्वेद और वृक्षायुर्वेद मौजूद रहा। उनके स्रोतों से हमको बहुत कुछ लाभ और स्वास्थ्य वर्धक चीजें हमेशा मिलती रही और आज भी स्थायी रूप से हमारे घरों में हैं, जिनको हम समय समय पर उनका वर्धन करते रहते। जैसे कि विशेष रूप से वर्षा ऋतु के आने पर हम लोग अगर नहीं भी होती तो तुलसी जी का पौधा लगाने की कोशिश करते हैं कि कम से कम वो अब इस समय अगर लग जाएंगे तो बने रहेंगे साल भर, और नेचुरली ईशान कोण में रखते उत्तर पूर्व के कॉर्नर पर, और उनको शुद्धता पवित्रता से रखते हैं। और जो बड़े वृक्ष होते हैं नीम, बरगद और पीपल इत्यादि, वो तो विश्व के स्वास्थ्य के सजग प्रहरी और कारण है। लेकिन हमारी जो वे औषधियां जिनको कि हम कल्टीवेट करके उनसे बहुत सारे सरस, वात और उन सब निर्माण में लगाते हैं, चाहे हमारा दशमूल हो या हमारी और अश्वगंधा, सर्पगंधा, ब्राह्मी, शतावर, इतनी भी औषधियों की उपलब्धता है। उनका नियमित कल्टीवेशन कैसे किया जाए, उनका संरक्षण कैसे किया जाए, उनकी जो दुर्लभ और विलुप्त होने वाली प्रजातियां हैं उनको समय रहते हुए कैसे कैसे किस एल्टीट्यूड पर और किस कंडूसिव कंडीशंस में उपजाए रखा जाए और उपलब्ध कराया जाए, ये बहुत बड़ी चैलेंजिंग है। क्योंकि पूरा का पूरा द्रव्य गुण जिसके बदौलत हम लोग औषधियों के रसगुण विपाक को लेके चलते हैं, तो हम चाहेंगे उसके लिए और हमें कुछ मार्गदर्शन मिल सके। आदरणीय आशीष फड़के साहब का संकेत मिला है कि वो अपने कुछ विचार एड ऑन करने चाहते हैं। स्वागत है सर आपका, बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। प्रणाम।
नमस्कार सर। दोनों लेक्चर बहुत बढ़िया थे। मैंने अभी कार से आते हुए सुने दोनों को। मुझे मैडम से ये पूछना था कि स्पेसिफिकली जब ये प्लांट्स, मेडिसिनल प्लांट्स ग्रो करते हैं या ग्रो नहीं, वाइडली अवेलेबल है, तो उनके जब भी वो कलेक्शन करते हैं, शैल आई आस्क मैडम यू इन इंग्लिश? शी इज देयर, डॉक्टर सुपर्णा जी?
शी इज देयर।
हाँ. So, have you seen any specific methodology while collection of these particular medicinal plants in specific tribes? Why I'm asking this particular question is because in Ayurveda, there is a mention of doing some prayers. We call avahan. We invoke that particular deities and that particular plant, and then we request that plant that for such and such reason, for such and such noble reason, we want to pluck certain parts of yours and only allow us to take your part. That is
This,
the mention in.
so I can say about Lodha, the primitive tribe, in this West Bengal, out of 3 primitive tribes, Lodha is among them. So these Lodhas are every day enter into the forest, especially the women, and they have the 95% dependence on the forest. And they visited the forest. When they visited the forest, they know the every nook and corner of the particular forest where they used to visit it. And they collected it, and they have the acumen. So it is not that the particular time or particular deities are over there. But deities, when they used to collect it, they specially follow the deities. And then they collect, like the akand leaves and tulsi leaves. Generally, they couldn't touch tulsi ma in the full moon day because it is their deity. So after the full moon day, they collect, and when they collect the tulsi, there is a norms. Only the lower part of leaves they collect, not the monjuli.
Apical buds, yes, apical buds. Right.
Upper parts. Those lower parts they collect it, and then they keep it, and they give it to the farmhouse of the forest division. At the same time, they also use in their day-to-day life. If their children used to suffer from cough and cold, they used to give the tulsi leaves every day. Not they don't have any other medicines, the other sources of Ayurvedic also. Only the tulsi leaves, they wash it with the water and they paste it and give it to their children, and that has the effect, direct effect for the cough and cold, and very good. Within a week, their children used to be normal. So in this way, they collect the neem leaves. So when they collect the neem leaves, there is also deity. They couldn't touch the neem tree in the evening. Only the morning time they used to take it, and they used to worship it. Before taking the leaves, they used to worship the tree, and then only they can collect. These deities they are following their everyday life. And not only that, in case of the Loda and in case of the Santal, they follow the deities in their Jahir Khan. In the Jahir Khan, which is very important, and which is the indigenous method. In Jahir Khan, there are 5 trees there incorporated. These 5 trees all are the medicinal plants. All are the medicinal plants. So when they practice their deity, so they are practicing the medicinal herbs, medicinal plants for their betterment of life. So these are the very important part of their tradition. And if we can incorporate the modern method with this tradition, I hope there is a synergy we can wait for it.
Thank you very much. Because there is such a discussion and description in Ayurvedic treatise as well. And while teaching to our students, we do suggest that. I don't know whether anybody is practicing that, but then if we invoke mentally, though you need not get into rituals of it, but even if mentally you invoke and then you collect the plant material, then I think that is making change in the results as well, is one part. Apart from this, I wanted to also ask you another part, that there are certain scripts, and the question goes to both, to you as well as Dr. Basu. While growing plants, in Ayurvedic section, there is something known as Vriksha Ayurveda. Like Ayurveda, which has been mentioned for human beings, there are different kinds and patterns of Ayurveda, like Gaja Ayurveda for elephants, Durga Ayurveda for horses. And so there is a Vriksha Ayurveda, that is Ayurveda mean for medicinal, not medicinal, but general plants. Okay. Now, in that Vriksha Ayurveda text per se, we have hardly 3 or 4 such treatises which are available. One of them is Varahamir Samhita. Now, in Varamir Samhita, there is a section on how to grow specific herbs, right? And those methods are also being practiced in certain tribes. I had, some occasions to interact with some of them. And then I realized that, oh, this is the same which has been mentioned in Sanskrit script, and they are doing it. For example, I give example. Every one of us, we are aware of banyan tree. Okay, Ficus bengalensis. So those columnar roots which comes down, and the area nearby, they try to take those roots and the shoots, particularly the one which are hanging, and then that is mixed with the soil in and around that particular tree, along with gomai. Gomai is the cow dung, basically. Okay, mixed with cow urine, and then neem, and then there are 2, 3 other medicinal plants. And if that combination is spread all over the area, and if we try to cultivate medicinal plants, then it has been found by a group of scientists from Pune Deccan College that it is really making a lot of difference in the growth factor. Now, I just wanted to know, because I heard Dr. Basu, and it was very interesting and very important aspect which he has put forth with specific to what we can say, climatic condition and adaptation, as he has very specifically spoken. So whether this kind of efforts has been undertaken by modern groups using the knowledge-based system from our ancient, scriptures. That is first question. And to you, ma'am, whether have you come across any tribals utilizing this kind? Because for specific, herbs which are not easily found, so they try to grow even in a
No,
forest condition.
there is a system in tribal life cycle. When the newborn baby baby, and there is a, the name giving ceremony. So after birth of a child, after 3 months, there is a ritual called name giving ceremony, and that rituals they used to use panchamrito. Panchamrito, that means there are 5 types of medicinal, not only the plants, there is medicinal, seeds, then leaves, then cow dungs, then other necessities. So then that is there. So in that case, it is very unhygienic at modern time that to using of cow dung. But they use cow dung in that particular case, because it is their belief that the purification of the particular child, if they are giving the small things, they believe that that particular boy or the girl would not suffer from any kind of cancer disease. So this is the system which is incorporating and regenerating, though it is not uses in this modern time, but the primitive men also using, and in their rituals, in their incarnation, in their system, daily livelihood system, they are practicing all these rituals at the same time, all the medicinal aspects. So everything, if we find in our world, in our society, so medicines are the medicinal plants. Everything are medicinal. This is, our body is also a chemical laboratory. So in that case, medicines are required everyday life. So we are depending upon allopathic, homeopathic, at the same time, we can also use the Ayush, because in the before invention of the allopathic, there is only Ayush is there. So Ayush is have the in modern, you can say the old wine in a new bottle. So Ayush is coming, it's a old wine, and we are using Ayush in every aspects of our life, and it is needed, and which is very important for the part of our sustaining activities in day-to-day life. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes,
Thank you, Dr.
Dr. Basu. Yeah.
Yes. Dr. Fatke, thank you for your question. To answer your part, what I would like to suggest is, I am aware, like not only say in case of Ayurveda, but if you look into scriptures from other religions, like, in Buddhism, Jainism, or, Chinese scriptures or Tibetan scriptures, these ancient texts do mention very specifically about various seasons, various times and stuff. And if you match them together, you will find that these are valuable information in the production of these plants for the particular purpose that they match up with the growth seasons of the plants. This is the vegetative stage, this is the reproductive stage, this is the time that they are saying in those ancient script matches with the reproductive cycle. So if we could follow that, we could definitely benefit from that particular purpose. But unfortunately, in a country like India, where academics, rather than intermingling with each other, hate each other more, like mathematics and statistician in this country do not work together. So if you look into Ayush, it has been overrun by Ayurvedic practitioners, homeopaths, Siddha practitioners, and all other branches. And they are, I'm saying it in a very blunt word, they are just helping each other's friend. Like, they are trying to bring in research only an Ayurveda person to come in. This does not help in research. Research is interdisciplinary. You need Ayurveda, you need a medical doctor, you need medicinal chemist, you need agriculturist, agronomist, ecologist, everyone to come together. You need ethnomedicine people to come together to help.
Absolutely.
When there will be such interdisciplinary research, our new education policy 2020 does highlight about interdisciplinary research, but it is a policy. It is not in the mind of Indians. We still hate each other so much that, we as Ayurveda doctors have been persecuted so much by regular stream doctors. We have never been given our recognition. Now we have an Ayush ministry. No medical doctor should get an entrance here. We have to maintain our grant. We have to help our friends and stuff. These does not help in research. You can help your friends as much as you can like, but you cannot forward
today
research
afternoon, I was teaching to a discipline of MSc Bioanalytical. I'm going as a visiting professor to pharmacy. I'm teaching to food and nutrition sciences. So, right, what you say is right on a general level, but
this is happening, but at such a minimal scale that I'm saying. I have been recently invited to Asiatic Society. They have 50,000 manuscripts in 30 languages. No, they have 50,000 manuscripts in 30 languages, and many of them are very rich in medicinal plants information. They do not get ethnographers, like people. You need to know people who know Sanskrit, Brahmi, Pali, to decipher those information and give it to an agriculturist. Unless unrelated disciplines where we hate each other come together and decide to work together, we cannot make significant prospect in research. While the whole world, particularly in a highly developed world, anthropology is working with physics. In India, so applied psychology and pure psychology teachers do not see each other's face. So this is our weakness as a community. If we can overcome that, we'll become a research powerhouse.
Dr. Basu, I have one point to interpret here, that the only one thing, if today we are discussing, if we can foresee for five years, there is only one technology will be there, that is ethnomedicine. Without ethnomedicine, no disease
very much true.
Ethnomedicine is the only way to solve all diseases and ailments.
Big pharmaceutical companies take help of ethnomedicine a lot. They do not want to acknowledge it, take over, because they excuse me, because then they will be charged with biopiracy, because they are stealing a lot of medicinal plants from the country. So they do not want to recognize the effort, but it is very true. What you said is very, very true.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And how's about biochronopharmacology and the your work pertaining to agricultural activity pertaining to medicinal plantation? Because as you rightly mentioned, that particular plant at particular geographical condition, in environmental condition, they can show maximum phytoactives. But even is it not true that in a given that geographical part, the phytochemicals may vary from season to season? For example, if
Very
you
true.
see, yeah, for
Very
example,
true. From
Varsha,
season to season,
Odisha,
if you are
uh,
impacted by drought by some year or by
yes,
flooding by some year, you will see
yes.
different kind of production pattern. It fluctuates with the environment. Plants are very closely related for their production with the environmental parameters.
And like how we see there is changes in our DNA, or particularly our gene sequencing, or upregulation and downregulation of some of the genes in human being. I'm not aware actually, so I'm just asking out of curiosity to
Mhm.
you. Is there such kind of studies pertaining to epigenetics and the genetics of plant material?
Yes, plant material, but this is not done on very highly complex plants. Like Arabidopsis is a model plant, which is very simple genome. And there are lots of epigenetic studies done on this particular plant is because it is easy to manage. Once this technology becomes more prevalent, it will be definitely applied to other plants. Once in a while, these are mostly applied now to food crops, mostly to industrial crops, not into medicinal plants. But sooner or later, the research will catch up, and it will percolate into medicinal plant research too. So these are important research areas to look forward into the plant genomics. Medicinal plant genomics is still not a very, very big field as yet, but it is coming. Down the line, it's very much coming.
And the last question to both of you, are there any studies pertaining to which group of plants, when they grow together or when they are found together, they are helpful for their each other's growth, and whether there are any other kind of combinations where particular plant, if it is by chance it is grown in cluster, then that can hamper the growth of other plants?
If you will look into Himalayas, like if you will,
Yeah,
you'll see a lot of pine trees and stuff growing in huge numbers, right? If you grow
yeah,
in between, you won't see other plants growing because it's called gregariousness. Many plant species
mhm,
that grow, and they release chemicals into the soil, which only help and promote the growth of that particular species of plant only. This is something that is a new area of research that is coming up. But there are also plant species that have been found to help by exuding some nutrients into the soil, which is taken up by other allied species for their growth. And in exchange, they get some of the nutrients from these other groups of plants. Now, this is a part of plant intelligence. Plant research is around 50 to 100 years behind animal research internationally. So we do
yeah,
not have
yeah.
answers to every plant research right now, but if they are following closely and with new techniques and methodology, particularly in genomics that is evolving, we would get to know this part. But there are very much examples of where plants promote the growth of same plants, or plants promote the growth of other particular plants because they benefit from one another. There is either a kind of a symbiotic relation between them, just like legumes grown on to soil
Yeah,
to reach the
exactly. Yeah,
nitrogen. This is
nitrogen.
something
Yeah,
we know.
absolutely.
But there are various other plants that are also grown, or that are also growing, that has cultivan. Many of the medicinal plants that we do not successfully find to grow in commercial field is because they are dependent maybe on other plants.
Other
Because we
plants,
are not
exactly.
growing
Yeah,
that particular plant, this plant is not being able to generate. So these are modern areas of research that we need to know. But unfortunately, both internationally as well as from the government of India, there is very little funding on these areas. So unless this is funded, and there is a separate section of the Indian ICR, Indian Council for Agricultural Research, that extensively work
exactly.
on medicinal plants, as yet these things we will be losing out. So we need, as a policy, to have a division on medicinal plant research by policy, because this is a big foreign exchange earner for the government. We are all looking for money, and money is sweeter than honey. Then you have to invest money in medicinal plants to
Sure.
bring in foreign currency.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much to both of you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Just I would like to mention over here, Dr. Basu has mentioned all those things, but two things is there. One is genetic engineering, another one is gene-genome study, which is maintaining the gene pool and the sudden mutation of the seeds, which may occur, but it can be escalate and it can be research in that particular new area, the genome system, which will be the highlighted for the next decades, and where the medicinal, the seeds of the plants will be used for the recovery of the all diseases. And at the same time, you can utilize it in the cancer research, then the heart disease, then the brain tumor, all those cases, these are the very important. So genome studies and
Thank you.
genetic engineering.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I think you all three persons made the discussion very vital, though the subject itself is very vital and sensitive. You were the speakers and you were the discussion persons, so it's really wonderful. I am scared to say one thing that is very, very important, that even after this all discussion, what we are seeing that due to urbanization, where we will be having the land to plant the herbal trees and have a say crop out of that. Even the cereals, we are, because of the flyovers, because of the this broadening of the streets, the fertile land is also been occupied by the government hither and there everywhere. So it's very, very difficult to have earn even the cereals for our bread. Our these species which are just going to abolish or not even visible, apart from the simply you told that the pine tree or the banyan tree or the peepal tree, neem tree, which are the bigger and biggest trees, they are also been shifted or cut down. So it's, I am very scared that we are talking, of course, we are talking about the cultivation of the medicinal plant and the general plant as such. Nature, we are the one of the great say destroyer of the nature and the or the natural plants and all that. It's a serious matter. The earth itself is going to say very small in that way. Fertile land is just not be that much available as per our population and the demand of the medicinal plants as well as our food plants. So this is also to be taken into consideration, and we do hope that with this note, as yesterday Karthikeyan sir told that we are all become little bit artistic, as we are passionate enough to continue our webinars till 11:30 or so. So we think that this is the high time that we say all thanks to all our guest speakers of all the three webinars, along with the discussions and their contributions in a form of our knowledge increasing, their time and their experience contribution. So thank you so much, and I do hope that everybody have been benefited by your all knowledge, and will also get benefited by viewing our videos in the archives. So thank you so much, and
Thank you.
Shivratri, namaskar, pranam
Shivratri.
sabhi ko.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om.
Hari Om, namaskar. And over to Pawan Sharma ji for formal closing of our today's webinars. Thank you.
Could I end this?
Ji sir.
Namaskar,
Namaskar.
sir.
Ji sir.